I have with me today Your Excellency Ms. Nayanima Krisnamurthi, and she is the Ambassador of Indonesia to India. Welcome to ThePrint, ma'am, and thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This is an honor.
Thank you. Ma'am, so just to quickly start, first let us dwell a bit on the fact that your president was the first Asian leader to visit the Russia-Ukraine war zone. He went both to Russia as well as Ukraine. And after his visit, we saw, and maybe that's the impact his visit had, that the grain exports started from Ukraine. The first ship has already, left Ukraine. So what would you like to say on that? And also, you will be hosting the G20 summit in November. So many people are excited on the fact that whether this will put an end to the war, we never know. But what will be the focus of the summit?
Well, ending the war needs both sides to agree that war never gave good results on anyone, especially on their own people, right? But talking about Indonesia, in particular the visit of the president, we are humbly honored that the opening up of the export of grain happened in short time after the visit. We don't know whether it is directly or indirectly as a result of that, but surely we are sure that this opening up of grain export would help the volatility in price, the uncertainty in the value chain, the food security issue. So that relates to our focus for priority in our G20 presidency, which is, as you may know, during the FM G20 meeting in July in Bali as well, the meeting addressed only two main issues. One is strengthening the multilateralism. Second is enhancing the food security and energy security of the world. So that two issues show how Indonesia see the current global dynamics, which needs to be dealt with, the spirit of multilateralism, and secondly, the most pertinent issue in front of us, which is food and energy security.
So will those areas be of focus areas in the summit, and will you also discuss the fact that how can supply chains and global value chains can be strengthened?
I believe what we have done throughout our presidency from December 21 until now, I believe those issues and all other issues, we have three priority issues, right, including digital economy as well as the health governance, right? We keep pushing forward for those three priorities, and on top of it, we need to also deal with the current dynamics, which is as a result of the uncertainty in value chain. So I believe Indonesia will move forward with these priorities during our summit in November.
That will be great. Also, Ambassador, now if I can come to the bilateral relationship between India and Indonesia, that's also thriving, that's also growing.
Very much so.
And, compared to what it was probably 10 years back, today we see much more dynamism in it. So coming to the first fact on defense cooperation, an agreement was signed in 2018. Can you tell us what is it happening under that agreement? Are you also keen to purchase the BrahMos missile from India?
All right, on BrahMos, maybe I will start with that. On BrahMos, you heard so many gossips and rumors and whatnot. I can just say like this: the cooperation on defense sector, I believe, between us, within Indonesia and India since the beginning, and even strengthened in 2018, it's not merely about buying or selling. It's not only about export or import or anything, but It's more than that, because we both as countries know our capacity and our capabilities in our defense industries. Behind you there is airplanes also. We produce planes, and we also produce some of equipments for the peacekeeping operation, the UN PKO. So I believe on defense, especially defense industry, we maintain that spirit. We maintain the spirits of not only focusing on buying and selling and those things. On dialogue, even more so, more strengthened and enhanced, because now we have seen so many ships, our ship coming to India, Indian ship coming to Indonesia, as exchange and dialogue. Also the dialogue between defense ministries, defense ministers, even virtual or even physical, we are seeing an increase. So yes, it is increasing, while maintaining the beliefs between both countries, that defense is, it has to be seen as an effort to cooperate in achieving peaceful region, which is Indo-Pacific. Yeah.
So when you talk about more exchange of defense dialogue between both the countries, are we also not looking at more of equipment sales, in terms of you exporting it to us, we are exporting something to you, or it will be only at the level of military exercises?
No. Well, like I said, it's not merely about that, because the exchange that we have needs to also sharing experience, sharing best practices, sharing technology, sharing understanding. It's not only about buying things, India buying something from Indonesia, Indonesia buying something. It's not merely about that, but also understanding the technology behind it, understanding how to come about the technology. And also the most current issue is how the disruption in the value chain give impact to our defense industries.
So Ambassador, if I can ask you, what is it that Indonesia feels about this larger strategic construct that is going on with the Indo-Pacific? India, as you can see, is very much now embedded in the Indo-Pacific framework. We are also part of the Quad. But when it comes to India, Indonesia, are you also keen on Indo-Pacific? And of course, the larger threat there is China. What are your views on that?
So I think this year we celebrate ASEAN-India 30 years friendship. Next year, hopefully, we will elevate the partnership and to a different level, which is comprehensive strategic partnership. In ASEAN, we have already the ASEAN Outlook of Indo-Pacific. India, you have your own IPOI. We respect each other on the concepts, on the principles, but more importantly, ASEAN, because we are part of ASEAN, ASEAN and India believes that what we need with the global dynamics, what we need is to build bridges of cooperation, bridges of dialogue, bridges of understanding. So if you talk about Indo-Pacific, we cannot own Indo-Pacific. We are in the Indo-Pacific.
Right.
So if people wants to cooperate or collaborate in Indo-Pacific, they need to understand that there are countries like us who are here already, and we own the sea, the land in the Pacific. That's the first. Second, I believe that Indonesia and India, this is maybe not so many people know. Even in nationally, our people, not a lot of people know this, that Indonesia and India are neighbors. Do you know that? Andaman Nicobar and Sumatra is very close. It's an hour and a half flight. No one knows. Many people doesn't know that. So I think we need to also be mindful of geographical distance between the two countries, that we need to call each other neighbors, because of the Andaman in Island, Nicobar is very close to us. So when it comes to being neighbors respect each other integrity and independence. So I see a lot of things has been done between two countries, but many things still can be done by Indonesia and India, be it in bilateral or be it in the regional wise. That Thailand, Myanmar, and one more, Laos, is neighbor also with India. So many of us in ASEAN are neighbors with you. So a lot of things can be done, I think, in terms of managing this area.
When you say that a lot of things can be done, Ambassador, one thing that comes in mind is that of connectivity, and what you said, that they are so close, yet the connectivity is just absolutely not there. And I remember there was this, there are many projects, but the key project was the Aceh and Andaman connectivity. I understand there had been some delays maybe from Indian side, but what is the status and what are you telling the Indian government to, sort of expedite it?
Well, Indian government is expediting it. Thank you so much. Being, the government of India, I thank you, and the government also about their attention, their focus on Sumatra, especially Aceh. They have done. Indian government has done their feasibility studies on the port. We want investors from India to invest in the port, but the port itself is very difficult port because of the situation of it, because Indian Ocean tide and whatnot, right? And also prone to disasters because earthquake, tsunami in 2004. So I believe it's not hampering, but the dynamics are global dynamics, not hampering. I believe it's a challenge in itself, for both countries. The focus shift, is to other issues because of the dynamics, right? Now the focus is on how to maintain the value chain. The global value chain is now currently very disrupted because of after COVID and the war, then so many things happen. So one after the other, I believe Andaman, Nicobar, and Aceh would, at the end of the day, will be happening, but maybe gradually, not like an instant project that can be done in 24 hours or overnight.
There was, I believe, when the COVID pandemic had happened, there was a discussion going on between India, Indonesia, and Australia for a minilateral kind of an arrangement. Is that sort of still on the table?
We need to see what will happen in the future. Again, this year, our focus still on G20 and to make G20 relevant, which is now a bit challenging because many people want to drag G20 discussions into one only issue. We need to focus on that, and next year we will be the chair of ASEAN. So we want to strengthen our relations with partner of ASEAN, especially India. So we'll see if this what you call mini multilateral or trilateral will happen.
And Ambassador, lastly, I believe, India is now very keen on signing trade deals. It is going on signing the ones that were pending, going in for new ones. You also just signed a trade deal with the UAE like India did. But what about India, Indonesia? Do you think that can see a larger comprehensive trade deal?
Well, for sure, we see the benefit of having such an agreement. We will see whether both sides in an agreement on what kind of engagement it will be best benefit for both, because Indonesia also part of ASEAN, and we are also part of RCEP. We are also part of engagement with IPEF, for example. So many engagements needs to be considered in that bilateral agreement if there is such an agreement, of course we are interested in doing the same thing with India, for sure, for sure.
Good that you talked about the IPEF. I wanted to understand from Indonesia's perspective, how do you see this Indo-Pacific economic framework?
Yes.
From India's perspective, they're still sort of analyzing. We've said yes, but it seems that it could be a trade deal. It may not be. It may be just an economic arrangement, what the US has said. But what is your perspective on that?
Well, I have to say this, Indonesia and India have many similar position and perspective on global issues, including this. Same like G20, we are, I think, benefited from our relations with India in terms of foreign policy. We had a good relation since the 50s, right? Since a long time ago. And it benefited now because of G20, we have the same understanding of what is going on. Same like IPEF. We need to see what is going to happen with IPEF because IPEF is hopefully will be a game changer. That's the hope of many, right? Same like what we have done with G20. We want G20 to be a game changer when it comes to challenges of global issue, especially food and energy security. So yes, we have similar and many views, principles that are similar with India in that regard. Yes.
Yes, and many are saying that, you know, maybe the IPEF is a counter to our CEP, but I think that time will only say.
Yes, that time only say, and the negotiation or dialogue in my line of duty, foreign service, never ever happens instantly. It needs some tweaking, it needs some bridging, it needs some understanding for sure. So we will just wait and see what is going to happen, and we are so looking forward for the India's presidency of G20 next year, because that is also will hold a very important avenue for everyone to deal with the current and future issues.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ambassador. That is wonderful. That was Ambassador Krisnamurthi. She is the Indonesia's envoy to India. You were watching The Print. With me on camera is Pooja and Nayanima Basu.